James Gunn and Peter Safran are the co-CEOs of DC Studios, and recently they dropped their movie slate for the DCU pathway. Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. One of the projects that was not announced was the Justice League. And in this video, this will be my second video fan casting the Justice League. This is part 2. If you want to hear my casting choices for characters like Aquaman, the Batman, Zatanna, Wonder Woman, it's all in part 1. I'm Brogi Naric, and these are my fan castings for DCU's New Justice League Part 2. So this video, my character lineup will focus on The Flash, Wally West, Hawkgirl, Green Arrow, Black Canary, The Atom, Ryan Choi, Vixen, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and Superman. Now, it's been stated that Safran and Gunn have left the door open for previous actors to come back. All of them to come back except for Henry Cavill. They said, get the fuck out of here. So, starting off with the other fastest man alive, aka The Flash, aka Wally West. Now, like I said in my part 1 video, everyone who's worked on the Flash movie, the people that paid for it, have told us that this is the greatest movie that they've seen since The Dark Knight. Regardless of that, Ezra Miller needs to get the fuck out of here. They got to go. They are a problem. They can get all the help they need, but they need to deuce out. And in case they don't want to deal with Barry Allen due to all the controversy and all of that stuff, maybe they want to focus on Wally West instead. The Flash that everyone actually likes.
This isn't gonna work, is it? Not a chance.
Hey, where you going? Come on. I had dinner with 2 women at the same time. Because I'm a stud.
And my pick to play Wally West is Joe Keery. And of course, you recognize him as Steve Harrington from Stranger Things. He was also in the movie Free Guy. He was in some random movie called Spree. The young actor, he's just turned 30. He's an actor and a musician. And he has this sort of charming and nerdy everyman quality, but he's also very comedic and goofy. And hopefully he'll look good as a redhead. I would prefer for him to be redhead, and I didn't mention it in part 1, but hopefully Jack Quaid will look good as at least a dirty blonde. The other great quality about Joe Keery is that he doesn't have a cult. So that's a plus. He doesn't have a cult. He hasn't been accused of grooming anyone as far as we know. There's a lot of plus sides to having Joe Keery as Wally West. Now, Wally West is the nephew of Iris West and Barry Allen, formerly his sidekick Kid Flash. However they want to handle that in this universe is up to them, whether he existed as Kid Flash or maybe Barry never existed. I prefer if he was Kid Flash for a while and Barry disappeared through some timey-wimey shenanigans and he's now taking over the mantle. Wally is super smart, but he's also like a cocky sort of class clown character and does a lot of goofy things. He does have a wife in Linda. He has superpowered kids in Irie and Jai that, he has to be a father. That would be cool to get to see that aspect of the character. And, we can also get him longing for his uncle to come back. Most people who are fans of the cartoon remember Wally. And if they're going to have Jon Stewart, it would be cool to see that Wally-Jon Stewart comedic duo in live action. Joe Keery, I think, will be able to pull that off. And he is my pick for The Flash. Next up on the list is the Winged Warrior, a.k.a. Hawkgirl. Now, Hawkgirl is very complicated, and her backstory needs to be simplified. There are numerous versions of Hawkgirl. You have Shayera Hall, Jaira Sanders, Kendra Sanders, Kendra Munoz Sanders. So there's different ways they can go with this. They can pull from different versions. I'm going to kind of go with a bit more of a streamlined version of the cartoon version. That's the preferred version. And my pick to play Hawkgirl is Monica Barbaro. Now, you may recognize her from the show The Good Cop, which I believe was on Netflix. She was on the show Chicago Justice, and she was most recently in one of the biggest blockbusters of the previous year, Top Gun Maverick, where she played Phoenix. She was a badass in that movie. And she's also got like an upcoming Netflix series with Arnold Schwarzenegger. She's going to place. She's been in the game for a little while, and her star is just starting to rise. And she's had plenty of experience in sort of action-y shows. She's done some stunt work. I mean, she flew some jets in Top Gun Maverick. But her character made me think of Hawkgirl in a way, where she had the sass, but she also could play like a righteous, tough chick with attitude, which is very much what Shayera was in the comics and also in the cartoons. Now, her backstory is crazy. Want to do the reincarnated lovers throughout time, that would be fine. You know, she was married to the original Hawkman. We have seen Hawkman in the Black Adam movies. He could be an actor that they can keep. If they do, I'm fine with that. But once we get to the modern day era, I would kind of prefer if they kept Hawkgirl and Hawkman separated. In the modern times, they're kind of doing their own thing and focus on her as her own hero joining the Justice League. Hawkgirl has these special metal wings that give her super speed, increased strength, and durability. She also has her mace that, you know, she beats the hell out of people with. She's a fierce fighter and a great strategist, usually stern and hot-tempered and no nonsense, but she isn't afraid to cut loose and have fun from time to time. And once again, that's very much like Phoenix was in the movie. And of course, the big thing is we got Jon Stewart. Let's see that Hawkgirl-Jon Stewart relationship in live action. Will it end the same way with the betrayal? Who knows? But it would be cool to see that in live action. And Monica, I think, will be a perfect fit for Hawkgirl. Next on my list is a fan favorite, the Emerald Archer, Green Arrow. And my pick to play Green Arrow is Alexander Ludwig. Now, most people will know him from the series Vikings, that I think also lasted damn near a decade. He played the character Bjorn Ironside. He was in the recent Bad Boys for Life movie. He was the big tech guy. And he's also in the show Heels. Opposite Stephen Amell, Arrow, from the show Arrow. He played his like douchey brother in that one. I've seen a little bit of Alexander Ludwig. He's a big guy. He's like 6'2", he's 30 years old, Canadian actor. And he has this very handsome, roguish look. And he has leading man experience, a stunt work experience. I can buy him playing a tough guy, but also be comedic and be a cocky asshole, which is certain aspects you need to play a really good Green Arrow. You could just be like, well, you're just picking this guy because he's handsome and blonde. And that's part of it. Because I know a lot of people have picked him for Aquaman, but I think he would be better as Green Arrow because of his look. He looks, especially when he has the facial hair, he looks like an Earl Flynn sort of action-y guy, which I think would be the type of look you should be looking for Green Arrow. Oliver Queen was a spoiled, rich, thrill-seeking playboy until he was stranded and deserted on an island for several years. There he trained to become a master archer in order to survive. And after returning home, he used his new skills and wealth to become the vigilante Green Arrow. Green Arrow is a highly skilled archer and hunter and fighter with various gadgets. Despite him being rich, Ollie is a down-to-earth realist who speaks his mind more so than the Batman does. And he's kind of like the common man hero to a degree, despite being a rich guy.
Well, if it isn't the monster killer.
I was lucky. So was everybody else. Still don't think I belong up here.
That's the point. Someone like you will keep us honest.
Green Arrow should be more of a loudmouth, cocky, liberal jerk and less of a dark, grim archer ninja, which is what they did in the Arrow show, where they were trying to make him too much like Batman. We don't need that. If we're in the universe, we have Batman. Let Green Arrow be Green Arrow. Let him be the cocky guy talking shit. And let him be a little political, because that is a part of his character, you know, bring some of those Green Arrow, Green Lantern, Traveling Heroes vibes from the 70s and even in the 80s. This character will be popping up, and I think Alexander Ludwig is a solid pick for the Green Arrow. Next on the list is the Siren of Justice, aka Black Canary, and she has already appeared in previous movies. She was in the first Prey film, and I thought she was one of the better actors in that film, even though I thought I was a little worried about the casting, but she pulled it off. Journey Smollett was great in that. She could be returning, we don't know. But just in case she's not returning, I'm going to have a backup pick, and my backup pick to play Black Canary is Lily Reinhart. Now, Lily Reinhart is a young actress, 26. You may know her from the movie Hustlers, but she's also been in a little-known series that's been around for almost 10 years at this point, Riverdale. She played Betty Cooper in Riverdale, and I know you're thinking, why would we cast the girl from Riverdale? She can't act. Look, she's a solid actress. She's one of the better actors of that cast. She has acting experience, but she's been on that show for so long. The show's over. She's looking for something to break out, and I think she's a good young actress to get another role to help her star rise. And then you could also be like, oh, you're just picking her because she's blonde and she's white. And like that plays a factor, but she also in the show, there's certain episodes where she plays a tough chick. She plays a righteous chick who's not afraid to get her hands dirty. And that is a good characteristic and a good vibe that she can pull off for Black Canary. Dinah Laurel Lance is Black Canary. Her mom was the original Black Canary. Her dad was a detective. And throughout her young life, she grew up around superheroes, mainly the JSA. And hopefully they will keep this in her origin, her being the second Black Canary. And over time, she went into the family business. She trained to be a superhero, and she took over her mom's legacy as Black Canary. She was born with the metahuman ability of a supersonic scream, and she's a highly trained martial artist, one of the top fighters in the DC Comics universe. Canary is a singer or a rock star. Sometimes she's like a flower shop owner, or she's a psychiatrist. She's sassy and headstrong, a bit of a hot-headed badass, but she's also kind and caring. And I would love for them to focus on the Green Arrow and Black Canary partnership, the good and the bad, sort of like Ant-Man and the Wasp, but a bit more toxic. Like, I like how in Ant-Man and the Wasp, they can share the screen together. So I wouldn't mind seeing a Green Arrow and Black Canary movie together. I think that would be cool. And Black Canary's character could also be used to spin off into a proper Birds of Prey franchise, especially since we already know that the Bat family is going to be introduced in this DCU. I would love to see a proper Birds of Prey franchise, and I think Lily Reinhart would be great for Black Canary. Next on the list is the Atomic Titan, aka the Atom. And I'm going with the Ryan Choi version for the diversity. And my pick to play Ryan Choi is Eddie Liu. Eddie Liu, you may know him from the Never Have I Ever. I think it's a series or a movie on Netflix, but he's also on the Kung Fu series on the CW. He's a young guy, he's 28, he's mainly worked in TV. He's from a Hakka Chinese descent, which is important because Ryan Choi is a Chinese character. So I had to find an actor who was in the right age range, but who's also Chinese. Eddie Liu is also a very handsome guy, and he also has a lot of stunt work experience. You're going to need that in order to play like a superhero. So I think he has the right look to pull off, and he has the right temperament. Seen some clips of him on Kung Fu to play, nerdy scientist guy. Ryan Choi is the fourth Atom and is a gifted scientist from Hong Kong who studied under Ray Palmer, who is not the original Atom, but he's the more well-known version of the Atom. Usually the story is like his mentor's gone missing, and that's when he takes over the mantle of the superhero, the Atom. He has to not to be so uptight and try to have fun and get into this superhero life. His powers are somewhat like, I guess at this point, they're very much like an Ant-Man in the movies where he can shrink to like atomic size, and sometimes he can go big. Usually it's him shrinking to atomic size. That's his main thing. And another thing that I didn't consider, now knowing that James Gunn is a big fan of Grant Morrison and he's leaning heavily off of Grant Morrison's work. Grant Morrison, if I'm not mistaken, Grant Morrison and Gail Simone are the two people that created the Ryan Choi characters. The likelihood of this character popping up has increased exponentially. And I think Eddie Liu would be perfect to play the Atom. Next on the list is the Queen of the Animal Kingdom, Vixen. And my pick to play Vixen is Kiki Lane. You may know her from the movie If Beale Street Could Talk, which I haven't gotten around to seeing just yet. She was also in Old Guard, which is on Netflix. She was dope as shit in that one. And she was in Coming to America, the sequel to Coming to America. She played, I think she was Eddie Murphy's oldest daughter in that movie. And she was also in Chippendale Rescue Rangers, the Disney Plus film. She's 31 years old. She's got good height. She's a very good actress, very beautiful with a great fashion sense. And she has serious stunt work experience. Most of the movies I've seen her in, specifically Coming to America and Old Guard, she is a badass. When it comes to her looking like a badass and doing like fight scenes and being like heroic looking, she pulls it together. And like I said, she's a very beautiful woman. What plays great into Vixen because Mari McCabe is a fashion icon. She usually sometimes has a talk show. She's also an animal activist, and she's a superhero from the fictional Zambezi nation in Africa. Her mystical magic totem necklace allows her to tap into red, which is like this mystical premise that allows her to connect with nature and animals and allows her to channel the powers of any animal on Earth. And this also includes extinct animals and any aliens on Earth. Sometimes it gets a little OP. The necklace was passed down through her ancestors who got it from the god Anansi. Vixen has connections to the Justice League, but she also has connections to the Suicide Squad. She was also a member of the Suicide Squad. I can see Vixen being introduced through the Wally show or through the Suicide Squad and then added into the Justice League. Vixen is a very popular fan favorite, and she's one of the few popular black female superheroes in all of comics. So this would be a chance to give her a big mainstream push. She has been in the CW. They've been holding it down with Vixen. She had an animated series. She was a character on Legends of Tomorrow. And then also Vixen has been in numerous animated depictions. So this would be the time to give her a big mainstream push. And I think Kiki Lane would be perfect to bring her into live action. Next on the list is the Emerald Knights, aka Green Lantern, and it's already been announced that they're planning to make an HBO Max series, Lanterns, that's going to focus on Hal Jordan and John Stewart working together on some weird Earth mystery. And I would prefer if John and Hal are contemporaries. No one should be significantly older than the other. I went on the whole rant about it in part 1, but I'm going to be casting Hal Jordan, and my pick to play Hal Jordan is Glenn Powell. You may know Glenn Powell from the series Scream Queens. He was in the movie Devotion, and he was also recently in one of the highest grossing movies of last year, Top Gun Maverick. He played Hangman. Since that movie, he's been on a lot of people's casting lists because he did such a great job as this cocky, handsome, charming asshole who was a jerk, which is a great way to a degree, describe Hal Jordan. Glenn Powell is a handsome leading man. He's charming. He can be comical. He is a funny, like, he's been in some funny roles, like romance comedies and stuff. He looks great in an aviator jacket. Like, that's the main thing. He looks great in a damn aviator jacket. Like, look at that. He looks phenomenal. Hal Jordan is a cocky and hotshot test pilot who becomes a intergalactic space cop due to his bravery and strong willpower to become one of the Green Lanterns. And Hal is the premier Green Lantern. He was the second Green Lantern to pop up in the comics. He's the most known to comic fans. He's a beloved character, but there's also, a segment of fans who prefer John Stewart. And I like that they're bringing them both at the same time. They kind of give them some balance, but also we can see the core coming together, working as a team. That would be awesome to see in live action. Hal's a little bit different because he's considered the best. Even though he's the best, he also has his faults, and there's a whole storyline where he turns evil and ends up killing most of the Green Lanterns, and I don't know if we're going to get into that, who knows, but, there are dualities to this character. This will be another role where he can establish himself as a leading man and get more in the mainstream, but I will say, if he's not Green Lantern Hal Jordan, he would also be a very good pick for Booster Gold. I will say, he would be perfect for Booster Gold or Hal Jordan. Either one is perfect for him. But I'm going with Glenn Powell for Hal Jordan. And last on the list is the Man of Tomorrow, the Man of Steel, the last son of Krypton, aka Superman. Now, Henry Cavill is officially out as Superman, which a lot of people are disappointed by. I was never the biggest fan of Henry Cavill as Superman, but I was willing for him to come back and get a shot in a better movie. That didn't happen. So he's gone. They're now working on a new Superman movie called Superman Legacy, which is going to focus on a younger Superman early in his career, struggling with, his heritage or whatever that means. I don't know exactly what that means just yet, but that's the direction they're going with. We're going to have a younger Superman. That put me in the mindset of looking for younger actors, and my pick to play the Man of Tomorrow, Superman, is David Cornswet. Now, I had never heard of this actor until probably around Peacemaker, or a little bit before Peacemaker, where people were just scrambling to find someone to be the new Superman. And I gotta say, this guy, he's been in some stuff. He's been in the show Hollywood on Netflix. He was in the show called The Politician. He was in the movie Pearl, where he played projectionist. He's a young actor. He's a big guy. He's 6'4", 29. He has acting range. I've seen some of his clips. He can be the kind, all shucks vibe. He can also be like a devious jerk. And he has this classical leading man look to him. He in a weird way, he also kind of looks like Cavill. Got a good build on him. You can put the mask on him. Like, he's on a lot of people's list. And at the end of the day, you cannot deny that this guy looks like Superman.
You look like Superman.
Oh, cool. Yeah, right on. Well, he was the original, right? So,
The original what?
superhero. He's like,
Is that what you're going for?
no.
Dude, come on.
It wouldn't be that obvious. Like, if you didn't know me, you'd be like, oh, shit, maybe that's Superman.
No, you wouldn't. Everyone knows who Superman is, and they know it's not you.
Shit.
I don't want to be so superficial about it, but I mean, like, the guy, he has the look. And like I said in part 1, Warner Brothers are usually fine to cast an unknown when it comes to Superman. Not so much with Batman. And this guy is practically an unknown. He's not known for a big role or anything like that. And I think Corn Sweat will be able to pull it off. I know some reports saying they want someone specifically 25. He's 29. He can look like he's 25. Cavill was a young actor, and his Superman was portrayed to be older in those movies. It's fine. Clark Kent is an alien survivor of the dying planet Krypton, crash landed on Earth, and was raised to become the greatest and most powerful superhero in the DCU. He's an icon of truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, or the American way, whichever one you prefer. And it seems like they're going for more all-star Superman vibes with this, which hopefully that means he's going to be sort of wacky and bombastic when it comes to the displays of how his powers are depicted and the villains he fights, which I think is cool. This project sounds like it's being handled by people who actually like and love Superman, so I'm looking forward to that movie, and I think David Corn Sweat will be perfect for the role of Superman. So that's my casting choices for the DCU Gods and Monsters Justice League movie whenever that's coming out. I think this list of actors would be a good way to start with these characters. Hopefully they can do better than this, but I think this is a solid list. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel, and check out my other videos on this channel. I have one where I picked 7 movie ideas that could be happening in the DCU slate. I did that before it was announced, and I got 3 out of 4 right. I'm just going to say I got 3 out of 4 right. I think that's pretty damn good. That's the video, and thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. Peace.